So I have to be honest. I didn't want to do this reading because I don't do love readings. I don't know if it's like a trigger thing. So maybe this was for me. But I got Aphrodite and I'm reading her card and I'm like, well, what can I relate this? So then I pull my other cards and then the Lovers pops out. But anyway, so I was like, I don't know if I want to do this. And then I was telling my husband, I said, well, I don't know if I really want to do this one because I don't like to do love readings because I feel like sometimes when you're looking for answers when it comes to that, a lot of times people will be lost and distraught and not use your own understanding of what your answers are. And honestly, I feel like that's what all of this is about, is finding your answers within you to guide you, because that's your inner guidance. We do get guidance on the outside, but a lot of that is your perception too. So anyways, so my husband said, well, if you have a different opinion, maybe that's a good thing. So here goes. So Aphrodite, we all know her story, right? She is a goddess who is synonymous with love and passion and lust and sexuality and beauty. And she's also about, she's also a sea goddess. So she also protects seafarers. So if that's anything that means anything to you. But her card in this deck, which is the Goddess Within, it talks about, the first inscription says, use your heartbreak to heal, dive into your heart, feel your pain, and emerge with openness to love. And what that means to me is a lot of times when we go through different types of heartbreak, whether that be in love, whether that be in something that really broke your heart, it doesn't have to be a relationship thing, but something that kind of really breaks you down. A lot of times what we do is we build a wall up and we don't, we're afraid to open up. That vulnerability gets shoved under the carpet and we don't want to bring it out anymore, right? This happens in so many other situations, but it's really hard with love. And a big thing on love is when you're really trying to be a whole person, your ability to love, whether that be romantic love or to find things to love about people in, the world, that, understanding things in people that you might find as your enemy or somebody that has wronged you. Love is a huge, powerful force. And I really feel like that is the essence of what everything is that makes us who we are. So also, love, your ability to love, like, brings your life meaning and joy. And, if you're able to go through those depths of pain and come back out, then that's a powerful, powerful feeling. It's a powerful way to get through difficult things, and it teaches you lessons. So I'm going to try and wing this without being biased. I'm very happily married, but a lot of times what happens is when you have self-esteem issues, sometimes you overthink, or you create situations, or you overthink situations in a relationship, and you expect somebody else to love you the way that you love them, or show love the way that you show love. I'm a very outward person. When my husband has no doubt probably that I love him. And it's not that I doubt that he loves me, but we went through a period where I was having really low self-esteem, and I was taking every little thing that he did or said, and just kind of internalizing it and making that my self-worth. And I always say too, a lot of times, because we had been together for so long, that I feel sometimes when you're together really young, you go through these different things with relationships that sometimes you don't, you mature together, but there are some things that you do, you kind of have to go through that maybe you didn't go through because you guys were together for so long. But anyway, enough about me. So I have 2 Liminal Forrest Oracles. We have Storm and we have Rumination. And what this feels like to me is, we do go through these storms in life, and love can feel like this horrible, raging storm when our feelings are hurt, or we feel left out, or our heart is broken. It really does feel like you're in the middle of a huge storm for whatever reason that is happening, our perception of something, or if somebody really is doing something to you. Underneath it all, it's how you value yourself. And I always say, if you are really loving yourself, the way that you see things, the way that you project things, the way that you take things takes on a whole different level of meaning. But in this card, she talks about like, weathering the storms brings you strength, and it really, really does. And then rumination. So that's another thing too, is a lot of times with these, we overthink and we obsess over them and we kind of dwell on these topics. So a lot of times it's not as bad as we think it is, but we feel like it is because we're down in the depths, marinating in it and making ourselves feel like, the world is going to end because this person doesn't love me, or, I'm going to lose this person and da-da-da-da-da. When in the end, if you lost somebody because whatever, then you really can't control those things, right? So, and I hope that nobody's going through anything emotionally. And please, whatever I say, don't base your life decisions on what I say. I am just looking at cards, using my intuition and my inner guidance and things that I get meaning out of it, and in the hopes that it helps somebody else. And then we have our 2 Herbal Astrology oracles, and we have revival with cordyceps. So this could also be, if you is a relationship thing, maybe you were going through some type of stormy time, and then now through some wisdom, which is the next card, an elder, there is a chance to revive it, really make it what it could be. Because sometimes, through maturity and through lessons, we have to kind of like understand what there is to lose without making it so dramatic. I don't know how to explain that. But both these cards are very good cards. And if you look at it, there's a lot of Jupiter in these cards. There's also a lot of Pluto in these cards. So Pluto is about death and rebirth and, going into the depths. And Jupiter is about expansion. So a lot of times that's what we have to do, is we really have to get into those depths and kind of wipe away what really isn't meant to be. And a lot of times it doesn't have to be another person or even a situation. It is our mindset. So a lot of times when we get these readings that tell us, oh, so-and-so is doing this or da-da-da-da-da, I feel like if you believe that, then you kind of create those scenarios sometimes for yourself. So there's a little tough love for me. But I also feel like if you can find your way through these things and understand that sometimes our mindsets and the things that we put on, and not just about other people and how they're treating us, but sometimes we have to look back on how we are treating others. If you're not making time for your people in your life, then maybe there's a reason why they feel that you are, not loving them enough, or you're doing something else. Open communication is huge in relationships. I just have to say that right now. So I feel like, it goes both ways. It's not always, the other person. Sometimes you're doing something and you don't realize you're doing it. The whole purpose, I think, of going through these things that we go through is really making yourself a whole person, and really to love somebody as much as you really you want to, and feel that the best way to love somebody is to really fill your own cup, because you can't give without giving to yourself. But at the same time, that doesn't mean to be ignoring everybody else, because sometimes I feel like people are like that too. Like if you are being overly selfish, that's a lot of times that comes from a hurt person. There's a difference between taking care of yourself and being selfish. Anyway, and so we'll get back to that, but I'm going to the tarot cards. So we have the Lovers. The Lovers, it can represent union, connection, but it also can be decisions. And also, it also represents like the first stages of love. How, love makes you feel that wonderful giddy feeling, and that, there's nothing else in the world, right? So with the Two of Swords, I think there is like a decision here, but I think it's a decision in your mindset, because the swords are your mindset, all right? And I also feel like that's, we have to make that decision. So right now, I think we're in the process of making that decision of how we view love, how we view ourselves in love, and how we give that, right? And then in the area that we need to work on, we have the Five of Coins. And then everyone, always says Five of Coins or Five of Pentacles is, feeling of lack, or having a hard time financially, that type of thing. But also it can be, there is a story about how inside of the little church where the poor couple goes by, the old lady and the child who are poor, they go by the church in the Rider-Waite card, and there is the Hierophant inside, and the Hierophant is able to bring them light and able to bring them help. But all they have to do is kind of look for it, right? And they're not really looking for it. But that can also go the other way, where the Hierophant could be poking his head out there and saying, oh, there's somebody that needs my help. So in a way, this sounds like a long shot, but this is what I'm getting. I feel like that's saying that you really need to look at things a little bit different and seeing how the other person or the other situation is being affected by your mindset. So really, it's looking at the situation in a bigger picture. And there is change in here. We have the Chariot, which is about, momentum, but it's also about a path that's even and strong and passionate. So understanding that this is part of our path and finding a balance in that, and understanding that, and since it's with the Five of Pentacles, maybe honestly looking at that path in a more balanced way, because sometimes the Five of Pentacles can also be about finding balance, right? And then, so we go through the Chariot and we go right to the Eight of Wands, which is also fast movement, and it's also powerful movement. So I feel like whatever's happening, there's like a shift. There's a huge shift happening for somebody. And maybe it's in your mindset. We're going from feeling very stuck and feeling, the lack, and we have no choice and life is hard. Or maybe this is in the past for you. But this is saying, use that momentum, use that as a pushing off point, because, also with the Eight of Wands in a lot of old traditions is also love coming in, because it's all this passion coming towards your way. And with the King of Wands, maybe it's somebody who happens to be a very passionate and spiritual person that is coming into your life. Or perhaps this is you, because this section is my section of what you have around you and what your resources are and the energy that you can use to help you with the situation. So also, if this King of Wands is you, this is somebody who is very passionate and very centered and a very stable but passionate leader. I say passion a million times because that's what it is to me. There's fire in this person, right? And there's fire in these wands. Use that passion. Think back to why you loved this person. Take all the other crap out of the way. Take all these other things out of the way. Or what love means to you. It doesn't have to be another person, but take that situation, go back to the beginning and be like, why did I put myself in this situation? Why does this person have such a strong hold on my heart, right? So understand that, and I feel like that's a huge transformation. And then when we get to the last row, this looks very grim, right? We're like, oh man, this is the Four of Pentacles is about being selfish and, holding everything in. And it's also about being protective of your heart and all that type of thing. But it also, if we look at things in a different perspective, which I feel like that's what this reading is telling you, is not taking love as, why did this happen to me? Like, that saying, and I'm probably going to butcher it because I haven't heard it in so long, where it's better to have loved and lost than to never have loved at all. That is so true. Like, I used to be one of those people who were like, oh, that's awful. Why would you give a crap about that? No, because it changes you. It makes you understand what feelings are, right? It's like understanding what the light is because of the shadow. So with the Four of Pentacles, I feel like this is about, there is stability, understanding that, there is a way that you can make boundaries. We do need boundaries. And it's not about being mean to that other person or being closed off to that other person. It's about understanding what you can handle and what you can tolerate, because sometimes you do need to understand that in a relationship. And when you have that understanding with somebody else, it's huge. That's how you can thrive and they can thrive and you can thrive together. And then you have the Five of Cups. So Five of Cups, we all know the story, right? The story is there was 5 cups and 3 were spilled, but we still have 2. So 2 cups. So we have 2 again. So we have 3 2s in here, 2, 2, 2. So that's a connection, right? That's a very powerful number 2 is. It's understanding that there's the blending of things. There's the blending of, earth and spirit that I've been talking about for the past couple of days. And there's a blending of, our masculine and feminine within us. And it's also about, the light and the shadow. That's what it's all about. You take the good and you take the bad. And I'm not going to sing this song, The Fact of Life. But, God, I keep showing how old I am. But also, if you look at that, so there's the 2 of Cups, and you do have the Lover. The 2 of Cups and the Lover in a reading is a good connection. And so when we have this passion in this reading and all these wands, coming at us with the 8 of Wands, I really do feel like this is a passionate connection, whether that be with yourself, with spirit, or whatever. But if this is a relationship, because I can't just say, oh, this is a love relationship, love reading, because for some reason I can't do that. When we look at the cards up there, right, there's wisdom and revival. So this is revising. This is reviving a love in a deeper way because you have gained wisdom, right? And then we have 2 Crystal Angel Oracles cards. And at first I'm like, what does that even mean? What does that even have to do with this reading? Because what I do is I pull my cards and then I read them that way. I don't pick them. So that's why they're always kind of chaotic like that. But the first one we have is Malachite, which is prosperity. There's a positive shift in your flow of divine support. So prosperity, maybe this is about a financial thing. Who knows? Maybe it has to do with your relationship with money, because we do have a relationship with money. But also, I feel like this is more understanding the value. Prosperity can be the value that you have in your life as far as relationships, value of life, things like that. So, but it's saying that there's a positive shift in your flow of divine support, which is beautiful. I think that, this is saying okay, hey, you learned your lesson. So, we'll get you a little bit. And then there's Sapphire. With easy does it. Your health and happiness and abundance require a gentle approach to life and work. And that's also telling you, stop ruminating. Stop thinking the worst of everything. Sometimes you need to retreat a little bit. Take a moment to yourself and collect yourself. But don't do it to think about all the bad things. Don't do it to sit there and have that mindset of the world is over and my life is over because of this person or whatever. Try to understand there's more than that. A lot of times staying hydrated and going for a walk will do you a million miles of good. So I hope this helps somebody. And it was very uncomfortable for me because I don't know why I have issues with love readings. I think it's because I have witnessed people close to me be very distracted and transformed in a negative way because of, they left all of their, own intuition and their own insight to somebody else, right? I feel like as a reader myself, it's guidance. We're guiding, okay? And this is our opinion. This is how we express. This is how we feel these feelings. And if anything, it's supposed to see things from a different angle, right? So, but ultimately, understand that you have that ability to tap inside you. And again, go back to the roots. Understand why you had that passion, why you had that fire, that love to begin with, okay? I love you guys, and I will talk to you later. Thanks.